Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So in this video it's time to talk about Palantir and the little problem that Palantir has got, overvaluation. Or does it? Because that seems to be the news that we hear every day. Recently this last price drop here is because an analyst who has been deadly wrong about Palantir has downgraded the stock and said it was egregiously expensive, and I guess it must be when you thought it's a $10 stock not so long ago. So I want to talk to you about what I think is happening behind the scenes and what I think is a good thing to do if you're an investor in Palantir. And as always, please make sure that you sub to the channel and let's begin. So at around this time, I don't find the exact date, me and Arnie were communicating with each other on X. And we thought we need to hop onto a live stream because our views are very, very aligned on what Palantir is. And that became this infamous live stream that aged like fine wine. And the title was Emergency Palantir Talk with Arnie Trezzi before Palantir reaches $20. And basically, our point in that video was that here Palantir reported very nice numbers, and you know, they were GAAP profitable and everything was looking great, and we got a huge boost from that, and the stock re-evaluated, you know, like they thought, okay, Palantir is not going bankrupt, it's not a consultancy, okay, there's something to this AI. But then in 2023 May, actually, the stock started going sideways. Let me just make my head smaller and move it here. So the stock started to go sideways and there was not a lot happening to the stock, whereas the company was doing insanely well. You know, you could see more and more AIP boot camps. This was, mind you, the start of AIP boot camps, and you know, they had a report here and we had no idea what the outcome of the AIP boot camps will be. If customers are going to sign up, and you know, there was just so many questions. And at this point it became clear that the AIP bootcamps are starting to show up in the earnings, which is really weird for Palantir, because before they were, you know, offering these free pilots, and the pilots were going for quite a long time, and they really proved to the company that they provide value. And then the management team of the company slowly started expanding with Palantir. So it was a very, very slow sales cycle. That was one of the big bear cases against Palantir, and one of the big frustration of the bulls of how bad their sales cycle was and how bad they were at sales, you know. And they seem to have innovated something in the sales cycle. Like, instead of having half a year pilots, they started having, you know, AIP boot camps that was a few days, and then the customers would go home and close the rest of the company. And in this earnings report that came out, if I remember well, you can correct me in the comments if I don't, it started to be clear that the AIP bootcamps are showing up on the numbers. And again, that was a really weird thing, because, okay, that was very unusual for Palantir, because normally, again, they give their stuff away for free, long pilots that are not paid. And if the customers are already paying, so that means that they are closing them really good, they're providing insanely good value, and something has changed on the cycle, right? And me and Arnie really started to see this, that yes, the stock has rallied a lot, but it rallied on it rallied on re-evaluating the company from, you know, a consultancy that is doing very bad, that is an AI imposter. However funny it sounds, Palantir was not being given credit for being an AI company. I'm not just saying it because it's a meme, this AI imposter thing. I'm actually saying because it was true. When we were down in the $6 range, they were not being given credit for being an AI company, right? So they revalued the company based on that, but the street wasn't giving any credit for what was happening with the AIP bootcamps. And we just saw that the company was going like this, whereas the stock price was going like this. And we thought, me and Arnie, that this is not sustainable. Then the earnings came out, you know, here, 70% year-over-year growth in the US commercial. And to be honest, again, the stock price rallied and has been going sideways since. And ever since we started with the AIP bootcamps, we are getting more and more news about Palantir signing new partnerships. They're getting new government contracts. And I think that we're getting a little bit of fatigue on this. Let me know in the comments if you feel the same. Like, I don't even really react when I see that Palantir is getting a new contract. And I think that that's kind of good but bad at the same time, because we still need to evaluate each contract and what it means and which direction the company is going. Let me just give you an example. Here's a tweet from Crossroads, and he is saying that we have seen partnership announced between Lowe's, Coles from Australia, Walgreens in the past few months. He's going into why this is, and everybody just wants to use AI, and he shows, you know, the different industries of how much return they get. Like every dollar they invest into AI, how much return they get on that dollar. And in the retail industry, it's 3.45x. I mean, if I knew that I would spend $1,000 on my business and I'm getting $3,500 back, I would be spending that $1,000 as often and as much as I could, you know? So no wonder why this is so popular. But retail is just one thing that Palantir is really excelling at. We have healthcare. We know that Palantir is insanely booming in healthcare. We have, you know, defense. There's so many other sectors where Palantir is just doing very, very good. And they, again, so I want to give you this concept that the stock price seems to be back. If we look at the stock, we're very near to the top of the channel that we started here in July 2023. Again, we're about 10% off, but we're in that vicinity, right? So what's going on behind the curtains? Here is an announcement for the AIPCon that was the latest AIPCon that happened. Just want to show few key points here. So today they announced more than 60 customers will showcase their work in Palantir's artificial intelligence AIP platform, and it's an upcoming AIPCon including 20 plus newcomers and partners. What's important here, since launching, nearly 850 bootcamps have been completed in the United States and around the world. And they go into this. So the AIP bootcamps was started last year, and it's probably, Alex Karp said in an interview that it's 20x more than the amount of pilots they have done the year prior. And this is potentially a funnel that has better conversion numbers. It's faster to deliver to the customers and faster to give results. And that is insane. And I don't think that we're fully grasping the magnitude of this. And then on top of it, we know from interviews that they cannot handle the demand. These AIP cons are oversubscribed, and the AIP bootcamps. And you basically need special channels and special connections to be able to get into an AIP bootcamp so that you can even, receive this service. And it started to be a bottleneck for Palantir. But still, we see posts like this. So Ether Square, very good follow on Palantir. Palantir generated more unique Foundry entities in the last quarter than in the rest of Q1s plus 2021 and before combined. So you can see this is the Founder links that were generated. So that means, that if a company opens up for Palantir, like coca-cola.palantir.com, that's a link. Or you have walgreens.palantir.com, that's another link. There could be some inaccuracies in this because Matt Farley from Palantir Weekly, he said that at his undisclosed company where he works, you can't get into the Palantir link just typing in his company name .palantir.com. But I do believe there's merit to this. So what we see is there's an insane surge of new companies trying out Palantir in a way that is much more scalable. The sales cycle is a lot smaller, and everybody is trying to implement AI. So they're having an easier time to cram this through management and make decisions. And then a few weeks ago, some really, really big news came out. And I think it really, really went under the radar. And it went so much under the radar that we didn't hear more about it. There was some tweets that said that more clarifications and more news are going to come out about this. I didn't see them. We didn't speak about it on Palantir Weekly. And this news is AIP now. So just want to give you what Ted Mabry, who's a veteran Palantirian, says about this. Returning to this now, that AIP now is public and can share a little bit more. The tech behind AIP now has been a massive engineering effort we've been working on for several years. The primary challenge we sought out to solve was to enable organizations to benefit from common patterns and building blocks while preserving their ability to generate alpha through tailoring AIP to their unique business. For example, manufacturing quality application can be built against abstractions like heavy manufacturing assets and can be applied across construction and manufacturing company and aircraft manufacturing company, or can schedule nurses or production, etc. So what he's saying is because of the ontology that they have built in Foundry and all the industries that they are in, they have certain architectures built in. For example, they have a scheduling architecture that is, connected with, schedulable assets, free times and, certain things. And then you can just plug and take this and plug it into another scheduling, and you need to make very small changes and it will mostly work, right? So the dirty reality of out-of-the-box enterprise software is that it usually takes years for an integrator to implement. The implementation requires significant contorting of your business to work within a rigid model of the software. And in the end, your business then evolves and you end up working around systems as much as through them. Best practices is really just pure beta and no alpha if it works at all. With AIP now, you get immediate value, but as importantly, you get the ability to adapt the software to you and your own business. A complete inversion of the horrible process of installing enterprise software. Value now, increasing alpha over time, nothing now and beta later. I want to retweet this. This is like such a slam from Palantir. Value now, increasing alpha later, nothing now and beta later. So what this means is you can basically take a framework, apply it to your company immediately, and then people who are trained on Palantir's program, they can readjust to make it more and more fit your company, and that way your use case is going to be better and better and more tailored to your company. This is very, very amazing. So this was the most important thing that I wanted to show you from here. And why this is important is because it seems like what they're doing is they're disrupting their own AIP bootcamp, which was already disrupting their own sales funnel. And basically now people they don't even have to go to a bootcamp. They can just sign up on AIP now. It takes them a few minutes. Again, we were supposed to get more data about this, but this can potentially unlock 100x expansion to Palantir compared to how they were doing. The thing is, let's be realist here. Palantir has experimented with a lot of new products over the years. So just since I've been following Palantir, they came out with Apollo, they came out with FedRAMP, AIP, so many things. So I think that this is a product that they're testing. They're trying to figure out the best way to do it and make sure that they can implement it so that the customers are really winning. And if this is working, it means that any mom and pop shop or any medium-sized company can click on this, and within a few hours they can get started with Palantir without having to fly out to a boot camp, having to book it and having to wait the time. And that is just insane. And again, while this is happening, this is potentially the biggest thing that has happened to Palantir in a very long time. The stock price is just going sideways. And this is my valuation model. This is the one that you can get access to if you want to support the channel on Palantir, or you can join and become a channel member. And thank you for the couple of people who have already done it. I calculated with, and Palantir has guided with for a 20% growth, right? And with these numbers, again, you can get this table, you can play around with it. I'm thinking with a 30% adjusted cash flow, 3% dilution. I get a stock price of $22 at the end of 2025. So that's 1.5 years from now. And if you want to buy the stock and have a 15% return, which I think is healthy, then your stock price would have to be 17.67. So below this, it's a great deal for you. However, I already was thinking that their numbers are too sandbagged and they are probably going to have much higher growth. I was guessing that the growth should be about between 25 to 30%, right? And you immediately see that this changes the stock price to 24 in 2025. So this is the future stock price. And it raises the good enough price that is today at 19 point something. So let's round it up to $20, right? So Palantir below $20 is a buy. We are at $22. But the thing is, what is going on behind the background? And I will tell you honestly, I don't know. This is speculation. We are not going to know until the earnings. I'm most probably going to use $1,000 or $2,000 that I can completely have go to zero to buy call options on Palantir before the earnings, just in case they report insane growth and, you know, really big expansion that we are not thinking with. I just want to show there is a realistic chance that they might grow 40% or they might increase, because Palantir does have a time in their growth. So it might be that they raise the guide and then they raise the future guide even more. And you can see that changes the share price in 2025 to $30. And then the fair value for the stock today is $24. But again, the multiples that I'm using, they were thinking with a 20% growth. So maybe you have to increase the price to operating cash flow. That's sort of another similar to a PE metric. Maybe then 50 is not fair. Maybe you have to go to 70, in which case the stock price goes to over $40, and $33 is a deal today if that would be the case. So my point is that this is pure speculation. I'm a very happy holder of Palantir. I am in zero way thinking about selling. I do write covered calls on my Palantir position, and if the stock price goes close, I roll them. I write weekly covered calls, and that's just to, you know, have some sort of an income from the shares. But I'm not even thinking about selling my shares. And I think that there's a substantial chance that the company is going to report surprising numbers and they're going to beat on expectations. And this is what all the signs point to. And this was my speculation about Palantir. If you watched up to this far, you're amazing. Please let me know in the comments if you did. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so by joining the membership, or, you know, supporting the channel on Patreon. You get access to my models, but it's really mostly just to support the channel. If you don't do it, no problem. It's amazing that you're here and you watch the channel and you comment, and I'll see you on the next video. Ciao, ciao. Have a nice Sunday.